Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Clean Machine Live. My name is Geoff Palmer. I'm the CEO and founder of Clean Machine. So, in January of last year, or January of this year, I turned 60 years of age. And I have been vegan for 38 years. So, I'm trying to dispel the myth that you can't build muscle at any age on a plant-based diet. And obviously I can, since I've been eating only plants for almost 39 years now. I'm 60 years of age and I'm in top physical health and top physical fitness health too as well. And I'm 100% drug free. And the reason I named my company Clean Machine is to try to encourage other people to live a clean life. Don't pollute your body with drugs, and don't of course, unless it's absolutely necessary to save your life, which is the case with some prescription drugs. But I want to really encourage people to keep this amazing machine that we're born into clean, free of drugs, free of animal products. You don't need them to be in the best physical fitness shape of your life, even well into your 60s, 70s, and 80s and beyond. And that's what I want to do, is be a living example of that and encourage people, because I've lost several friends due to drugs, and I almost lost my own life due to drugs. I fell into severe depression, suicidal depression, after I lost my father to alcohol, and my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and died later, and my brother's diagnosed with schizophrenia. So my whole family fell apart. I fell into deep suicidal depression and turned to drugs and alcohol, and I nearly died from it. I ended up in a coma for 3 days. And since I broke out of it, I've taken a path of living a completely drug-free, completely animal-free lifestyle. And I felt so amazing for it that I wanted to really help people get into optimal shape too as well. And I did that by forming, I worked in the natural products industry for almost 35 years now. And I've seen a lot of good things in the industry, and I've seen a lot of not so good things, a lot of marketing hype that's just flat out lies. And then, some really good research and some science on some amazing plants that could be helpful to people. And the reason why I choose supplementation is because many of these plants aren't in our food system. You don't get some of these plant phytochemicals in anywhere but certain plants. And I wanted to bring these plants to people to allow them to maximize their health, maximize the amount of gains that they get in the gym. Because look, we have busy lives. We're living indoors, so we're not getting proper sunlight. We're getting stressed out from our jobs, from driving, from relationships, from just the fast-pacedness of the society. I think there's a place for supplementation to add to a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet. Now, I'm an advocate of a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet. I subscribe to it myself, and I think there's a really good place for supplementation to optimize your overall health and nutrition, to ensure you're getting the proper nutrients. Like, look, we've removed vitamin B12 from the water supply. We've killed the microbes that are in it. And that's a good thing, actually, because we don't get dysentery very much in modern society anymore, because we have purified our water. But we've also removed the good bacteria that were there, the good bacteria that were producing vitamin B12 as well. We've removed the bacteria from the soil with fungicides and herbicides, and not using proper crop rotation in the soil. And the plants grown in healthy soil, fungi and bacteria-rich soils, do have vitamin B12 in it. I hope to be launching later in 2024 one of the amazing plants that pulls it up through the water supply and actually can deliver over 100% of the DV, the daily value required of true bioavailable B12. It pulls up the actual bacteria that produce the B12 into its root system and supplies it to humans. So yes, we can get B12 from plants and even water supply when it's not treated. But of course, we need to treat our water to prevent dysentery, which has wiped out huge amounts of our population. We need to take vitamin D3, which is actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone, but we need to replace the D3 that we're not getting from living indoors. So there's an appropriate place for supplementation. If it's removed from our food supply, if it's removed from our water supply, if it's removed because we're moving indoors where there's no sunlight, we need to put that back through supplementation. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like saying, oh, you're not getting it from foods. Look, our foods are so deplete because we're growing them in soil that is just really poor, because we keep growing the same crops over and over and over again for efficiency, for profitability for the farmers. But this depletes the soil, and then the plants, this food that we're eating just isn't as nutrient dense or nutrient rich as we do. A great example of this is blueberries. The blueberries that are grown commercially, full of water, nice big plump, fat and juicy, high in sugar content. Well, that's the way they were selectively grown. But you look at that compared to wild blueberries, it can have up to 50 times as many of the antioxidants of the commercial blueberries you get on your shelf. 50 times difference. So we've commercialized a lot of our food to our nutrient detriment. And it's important not to just say, I'm eating a whole food plant-based, I'm getting all I'm eating. No, we may be not getting that. And we need to stop lying to ourselves and actually put that nutrition back into our system. And remember, there are some nutrients that are not in our food supply, like adaptogens. Adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, astragalus, schizandra. These herbs are unique in their properties, and they're not found in our food supply. There's a couple foods that do have adaptogenic properties, like mushrooms do, and so does maca. And some cultures eat maca as an actual root vegetable. But this is not the standard American diet. So I was looking for products where we could put some of these nutrient backs, but I was looking for two things. One, these products needed to deliver not only optimal support for physical performance, optimal gains in strength and muscle gains, but also do it in a healthy way. It had to be those two. Also, it had to be gluten-free so that everybody could use it, even if you were gluten intolerant. It had to be non-GMO, make sure we're not getting these pesticides on our products. And it had to be vegan, obviously. So plant-sourced or mineral-sourced. Okay, so let's jump into the reasons why we do this. Okay, we'll just go right into the PowerPoint here. This is me. I've been in the natural products industry for over 35 years. I'm a natural bodybuilding champion, a natural physique champion, natural meaning drug-free. These are drug-tested events. So urine testing, saliva testing, and other forms of testing to make sure that people are not using drugs in this, because I'm very passionately anti-drug. Drugs almost took my life. I will never touch drugs again unless I absolutely have to save my life. I voted the top 40 most influential vegans by Plant-Based News. Very proud to have that. And a lot of people look at my physique at 60 and say the only way you could get there is to be using drugs. And of course I don't. I'm very passionately anti-drug. Look, I don't make that a issue. I don't judge people if they choose to use drugs. I try to just encourage them not to, by being an example, saying, look, you don't need the drugs. You can get amazing shape without the drugs. 50. I'm actually, oops, I need to update this PowerPoint slide. I am 60 years of age. Actually, I turned 61 in a couple months. I've been vegan for 38 years, a 2-time champion. And there's a picture of me. You can see it's not genetics. I was born a twiggy little kid with a pot belly. And so that body has been built simply by plants. So we're going to talk about some of the key contributors to help build in physique. Now, you know, when I was working at 24 Hour Fitness, I was a buyer for their supplements there. They did a research study to look and see why people stopped going to the gym. And the number one reason they found was people weren't getting results fast enough. So I said, okay, well, there's something I can address. Let's help people get results faster, and better so that people will say, wow, I'm getting results sooner. They'll see the results, get excited, and stay in the gym. Because obviously, the health benefits can be delivered by exercise a lot better if you stay consistent and you stay with the exercise. So I said, okay, let me give people the best that nature has to offer so that they could get results quicker, faster, easier, and get bigger results by using natural, clean, and health promoting products. So obviously, the first question I get asked when people find out that I'm vegan is, "Where do you get your protein?" And I think most people know that actually we don't need any protein. We need essential amino acids, right? So we break down the proteins into essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. But our body requires, means we can't live without essential amino acids. They're essential for life. And plants are the only ones that make essential amino acids. Now, there are some microbes that actually can make essential amino acids too, but we don't consume microbes for meals every day. We consume either plants or animals. And the animals do not and cannot make essential amino acids. That's why they're called essential, because animals can't make them. Humans can't make them. No animal can make them. Only plants make essential amino acids. Actually, they make all of the things that we consume. They make all of the carbohydrates, they make all of the essential fats, they make all of the fiber, they make all of the phytonutrients, all the polyphenols, most of the vitamins except for B12 and D3, which is technically not even a vitamin, and it can be made by sunlight to us. So that's not the issue. There is an issue of how much protein we should consume. A good recent study said that, well, let's talk about these first studies. The first study on the top is 8 weeks of whey compared to rice protein. And they found in the conclusion that there was no differences between the two groups after 8 weeks of supplementing with whey protein and the same amount of rice protein. So didn't result in any more muscle gains or strength gains, that's body composition or exercise performance, when consuming enough rice protein compared to whey protein. So they said, all right, well, maybe, but we thought, since whey protein has so much more leucine in it, one of the growth stimulating factors in it, maybe it's just the rice protein. So let's look at pea protein. So here's the pea protein study comparing pea protein to whey protein. And they found, interestingly, that pea protein actually resulted in 33% more muscle gains than whey protein. That's right. Pea protein outperformed whey protein when there was sufficient amounts of protein in it. And that's key here because I'm going to talk about the reasons why. So they said, well, maybe that's just a smaller study. So let's look at large studies. And this was a huge study, 40,000 people looking at third generational study. So real broad amount of people in the study. And they found that there was no differences between the type of protein and the musculoskeletal outcome, which is how much muscle or strength that you gained. However, there was a difference when they compared amounts of protein. So it still is important to get sufficient amount of protein, but it does not matter what that protein or where that protein comes from, either plant or animal. Okay, so in the rice study, they used 48 grams of rice protein per day. And in the pea protein study, they used 50 grams of pea protein a day. So why did the researchers use so much protein? And is too much protein bad for you? That's a good question. The study that actually I'm going to skip over, but there is a study that actually showed that those side by side, when they compared consuming animal protein to plant-based protein, that a high amount of animal protein increased cancer risk and overall mortality by 75%, but cancer risk by 400% and diabetes by 500%. So obviously there's other things in the meat like saturated fat and cholesterol that are contributing to this, whereas these things are very low or none in plant proteins. Okay, but why did they use so much of the plant protein versus the whey protein? The key here is the branched chain amino acids. So there are 3 branched chain amino acids, and they're called that because they have a unique branched chain configuration. But branched chain amino acids are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Now, typically in whey protein or milk proteins is higher leucine. Why? That's because a baby cow who is given the milk has to grow from 60 pounds to 300 pounds in about 6 to 8 weeks. All right, so it needs a lot of growth stimulation. Human beings, adult human beings, don't need to do that. Even adult babies don't need to do that. In the same period of time, we only had about 8 pounds. So we don't need to add 300 pounds, so we don't need that type of protein. But leucine does trigger muscle protein synthesis. Okay. So if the theory was going, well, if you have higher amounts of leucine in whey protein, then it would stimulate more muscle protein synthesis. And this is true on if you consume a lower amount of protein. Okay, let's move to the next slide and I'll show you exactly why that matters. Okay, so researchers finally figured out we now have what's called a leucine threshold. All right, so you can see the middle line actually going through that thin middle line. It's called the leucine threshold. And if anything below that line, you're not maximally stimulating muscle protein synthesis, or MPS. So anything above that line is the cutoff. That's the maximum amount the human body will allow for stimulation of leucine to stimulate muscle growth. So as you can see, the 2 gray ones there are smaller amounts of 25 grams of soy or rice protein, and they're not quite hitting optimal amounts of leucine threshold. So they're not meeting maximal muscle protein synthesis. So there's 2 ways you can actually do that. You can eat that 25 grams of of soy or rice or plant proteins, and then simply just add the leucine to it to get it up to that, and you'll maximally stimulate muscle protein synthesis to get the most gains. Or you can simply eat more of the rice and soy proteins or other plant proteins. But when you do that, you're consuming more calories too as well. Say soy, if you're eating tofu, tofu contains a fair amount of fat calories in it, believe it or not. Not many in the carb sides and not much in the fiber. It's almost all protein and fat. So if you're consuming more of the tofu, you're also consuming more fat calories, and fat has about 2.5 times more calories than carbs or protein. So you're adding a bunch of extra fat calories there. So it may be beneficial to keep your protein low, but just bump up the leucine. That's why adding branched chains, especially for vegans, can get you to maximum muscle size. That's how I can have 17-inch guns at 60 years of age, by simply eating the plant proteins and then it bumping up the leucine so that I'm getting to the optimal threshold there. So you're maximally stimulating muscle protein synthesis without dumping a lot of extra protein in there that you don't need. You can see that top bar there in the dark gray, that is whey plus leucine, and it's way over the threshold. That means you're wasting all that extra protein in there could be just converted to calories. All that extra amino acids can be just converted, broken down and converted in calories, because it's way beyond what the body can actually utilize. So consuming that 50 grams of whey protein is way beyond the threshold of that. So it is just really just adding extra calories. What you want to do is hit that minimum level of protein that you need for your essential amino acids. These are the building blocks of protein. Once you get that essential amount of amino acids, essential amount of amino acids in there, that will build the proteins. But you need that key. Just think of it like the cell, the muscle cell, has little gates and little keys in it. And that leucine goes over and unlocks that key and opens up the cell to allow the essential amino acids to get in. That is why that leucine triggers that threshold to maximal muscle protein synthesis. So again, you can simply just eat more of the plant proteins to, compensate for the difference in animal proteins compared to plant proteins, which is fine. Now, if we were out in the wild, running around naked, lots of sunlight, getting, stimulation, lots of exercise and stuff like that, we'd be burning through these calories and this would not be an issue. Because we're living as more sedentary lives at desks like I'm doing right now, and only getting certain amounts of exercise, I think it's better to reduce that amount of calories and simply add in just the leucine to get you bumped up into that leucine threshold, maximally stimulate your muscle growth without having to add that extra protein and extra calories and everything else that comes with it in your food. So does adding BCAAs to plant protein actually increase it? What does the research say? Sure enough, they did the study and they found it was 33% greater when they added leucine, LEAA, the leucine essential amino acid, after consumption of essential amino acids, aka proteins. The whole body breakdown was lower, which means you lost less muscle, and the utilization of the proteins was higher. So you're building more muscle and preventing muscle loss simply by adding branch chains to a protein meal. What about strength? Sure enough, this study shows that leucine supplementation in novice, so this is people just starting out, 12-week programs, they had up to a 24% increase over placebo. So actually a 40% increase in total strength gains, but compared to placebo, a 24% increase. Now, this is significant. If I could told you just by simply taking a supplement, you could get 24% more strength gains. And the more weight you can move in your strength gains, the more you can stimulate muscle growth. So you can accelerate your body's ability to add more muscle. So this is really great. These are small things nutritively you can do. And the beautiful thing is that BCAAs actually help reduce body fat as well. So it increases strength, builds more muscle, reduces your need for calorie intake, and burns body fat. So one of the cool ways, one of the 3 amino acids called valine actually gets metabolized down into another cool amino structure called L-beta. Type in L-beta, it's B-A-I-B-A, and you're going to see some amazing research showing how L-beta stimulates all 3 of the pathways, PPAR, alpha, oh God, I forgot the other 2 right now, but all 3 of the major pathways that we utilize to burn fat are all stimulated by L-beta, and L-valine is the direct precursor to L-beta. So by increasing those branch chains amino acids, your body can oxidize some of those branch chains to help preserve muscle, but also burn fat. This is why it's one of my favorite supplements to use and why so many people use it, because it really accentuates every part of the aspect of why you train in the gym. Burn fat, build muscle, gain strength. It's a beautiful supplement, and it's a great way, especially for vegans, to bump up your leucine threshold and make sure you're getting maximum amount out of your protein without having to add that extra protein. They actually compared it to whey protein and compared gram for gram, which isn't a fair comparison, but it's an interesting study. In the whey protein group, the BCAA groups gain more muscle mass than whey protein, gain more bench and squat strength than protein, and decrease their body fat more than whey protein. Pretty interesting. Okay, so omega-3s. Well, most people think of omega-3s as joint health, as brain health, as heart health. But a lot of people don't know that omega-3s play a very important role in muscle gains and, and muscle protein synthesis. So this is one of the places where I think people can really benefit, and they don't even know they can benefit simply by putting an effective source of omega-3s in. Now, My favorite is ahi flour. Obviously, I was the very first to bring ahi flour to the market in the sports nutrition category. It is the richest effective plant source of your essential omegas, omega-3 and omega-6. Both are important for muscle gains. And I'm going to show you why. One of the coolest things is that in published human study, actually multiple human studies have shown that SDA, now ahi flour is the richest source of plant SDA, non-GMO plant source of SDA of any plant known. So it is the best at converting to EPA. Now, they went head to head in a study comparing it to flax, and they found that ahi flour actually converted up to 5 times more efficiently from ALA to EPA. Now, why is that important for muscle growth? Let's take a look at that. Okay, so why is omega-3s important for athletes? So omega-3 has been shown to increase the rate of muscle protein synthesis in older people. And it increases muscle protein synthesis in non-older people too, as well. So the muscle protein concentrations and the muscle cell size were both greater when long chain, especially EPA, was converted in the bloodstream. All right. So let's take a look at the actual study that showed this. This is a human cell study, and it showed that EPA protein synthesis was 25% greater compared to cells with no effect of DHA. So DHA didn't have any effect on muscle protein synthesis, and EPA had both increase of a 25% greater increase of muscle gains or muscle protein synthesis, right? Greater amount of muscle size, as well as preventing 22% lower muscle loss. So DHA did not have any effect at all on this, but EPA. And that's why, we can go back to this slide, why this study showing that ahi flour, because of its high amount of SDA, which is the direct precursor, you can see on the left-hand side, ALA converts to SDA and then ETA and then EPA. So it's more a direct precursor. That's why it converts 5 times more than flax or chia or hemp, some of these other great plant sources that don't have it. Now, hemp has a little bit of SDA, but ahi flour has 8 times the amount of SDA as hemp. If I didn't know about ahi flour, I would be using hemp over flax and chia because it has that SDA in it, because it has greater amounts of other forms of omega-3s. But ahi flour is definitely the king, hands down. So flax and chia have 0 SDA in them. Hemp has a little bit, but again, ahi flour 8 times more. That is why clinical studies in humans have shown that ahi flour converts to EPA 5 times greater than that. And that will result in increases of muscle gains because EPA plays a vital role in muscle protein synthesis in the muscle cell itself. Actually works part of the mTOR pathway. But even this study showed, this was the first study to go head-to-head with fish oil and found ahi flour was just as good as fish oil at reducing inflammation and boosting the immune. Now, this is important because when you work out, you have a lot of inflammatory factors down. If you can bring those inflammation down quicker, the body can actually repair itself and heal, and you can get in the gym with higher amounts of strength sooner and better. So your muscle recovery time improves, as well as immune boosting. Because when you work out with intensity, especially resistance training, your immune system can drop. This will help boost back up that immune system and get you into optimal immune state so that you don't pose a risk for getting sick post-workout. Okay, so let's talk hormones, because obviously, when people say, oh, muscle building, steroids, right? That's the very first thing that comes to mind. Steroids is just the steroid hormone, which is testosterone. Now, both men and women produce testosterone. So we all need it for strength and for muscle, for lots of things. Sexual vitality, both men and women need this. But what you don't want is to elevate the body's testosterone levels too high, because then it can start converting to estrogen and DHT and create a whole bunch of nasty side effects. Now, I wouldn't have messed with the hormone category at all until I found this amazing flower. It's called the Puntia indicus ficus flower, and it's DM33. That's our registered trademark material. So no one else has this. We're the only supplement in the world with DM33. This cactus flower, as you can see by the human cell study on the left, reduced the conversion of your testosterone to estrogen by 80%. And it also reduced the conversion of testosterone to DHT by 80%. Now, guys don't want DHT because it causes male pattern baldness. It can cause acne in both men and women. It can cause unwanted hair growth, like back hair growth. It can cause prostate issues. So we want to get that DHT level optimized. We want to get that estrogen under effect. And some of the women say, well, wait a minute, doesn't my body need estrogen? Yes, but this is only blocking the conversion of your own body's testosterone. So women will produce testosterone so that they can use it for strength gains, for muscle growth, for libido, for all these positive things, better self-confidence, better sleep, better energy levels. All of these things are important and good for both men and women. So women produce their own testosterone, but you have a propensity to convert them into estrogen. And then that estrogen, if it's too much estrogen, can actually build up and cause the body to store more body fat, because estrogen can create body fat, and then the fat cells themselves can create estrogen. So women produce most of their estrogen through their ovaries or through fat cells. So that's the main pathway of it. What you don't want is your testosterone, what you really need for all your health benefits, to be converted to more estrogen that you don't need, that can get you into an estrogen creating fat cells, creating more estrogen, creating more fat cells. It's a tough cycle to get off of for women, and this will help reduce that. So for both men and women, this is an awesome product. I'm so proud to bring this, because I would never touch the hormone category if it were not for this DM33 cactus flower. So let's take a look at the pathway, because once you understand this pathway, I know it looks really complicated, but trust me, it's pretty simple. So you start with DHEA. That is the precursor to testosterone. Then the enzyme process converts it to androstenedione and then into testosterone. But usually when the body creates testosterone, the next step is that it's bound. You can see that next step in phase 2, sex hormone binding globulin. It binds to the sex hormone testosterone and makes it inactive. Well, we put some products in there to inhibit that sex binding so you get more free testosterone. So that takes you up to the next level, phase 3 and 4. So when you create more free testosterone, the body says, well, I've got a lot of free testosterone. Let's start converting some of that to estrogen and some of that to DHT. And you don't want those things, right? So what we do then with this cactus flower is block both of those, so that free testosterone can go on and bind to the androgen receptor sites in the muscle, stimulating muscle growth. But you have that one little block at the end, which is cortisol. We stress out all day long, and that cortisol can interfere with the body's ability to utilize that testosterone. With the KSM ashwagandha in it, it is shown to actually decrease that cortisol, increase the amount of testosterone. So you're getting both in the blocking of that cortisol, which could reduce the effect of it. So with all of this 5-phase step, what you're doing is modulating and optimizing your own body's natural production. When you're supporting your body's optimal level of production, then you're preventing it from converting into things that you don't want. So it's optimally stimulating muscle growth. You don't need to throw a whole bunch of outside drugs, steroid drugs into your body to overload your system, have it start going wacko and do that. You just need to tweak each one of the little steps, all 5 steps, to make sure you're getting optimal, efficient use out of your hormones. This way, you're never pushing your hormone levels out of balance, and you're keeping them optimal so that you're getting the best results out of your hormones without overloading your hormones and creating a bunch of nasty side effects that you don't want. All right, so there's one other product that I want to talk about, and I'm going to actually move to the captions, and we'll pull this up on the screen. This is a nice KSM study. So we use KSM 66 ashwagandha, and they've shown from their study that improve muscle strength and size through resistance, boosting strength by almost 75% in the upper body and 50% in the lower body. So this is a really great way of using ashwagandha. I mean, how many people are actually consuming ashwagandha on a regular basis? It's not something that's in our food supply. It is considered the king of the adaptogens in Ayurvedic medicine. It helps regulate. So if something's too high, it'll help bring it down into optimal phase. If it's too low, it'll bring it up into it. There's really nothing that does that. Almost everything in our food supply and in nature is unidirectional. It either increases something or it decreases something. Adaptogens regulate. That's why I love adaptogens and why I love KSM ashwagandha, the most studied ashwagandha, period. Again, I want to bring you the best of the best and put that best in the products because it's got published human studies showing its effectiveness. That's how I can get the results that I do. That's how I want to produce products so that you get the results too as well. So adding the branch chains can help you reduce your amount of protein intake by maximizing the amount of muscle protein synthesis. That's why I created some of the best tasting branch chains on the market. If you don't believe me, 60-day, 100% money back guarantee if you don't think it's the best tasting branch chains, natural branch chains, all natural flavors, natural colors, nothing artificial in our products, non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, and completely natural. All right. And then ahi flower. Remember that maximizing the amount of EPA so that you can give your body all that it needs to convert and prevent muscle breakdown. And vegan D3. And you're like, Geoff, what does D3 have to do with muscle gains? Well, it's a pretty interesting thing because vitamin D3 has actually shown to improve strength gains by up to 19%. That's almost 20% muscle strength gains just by optimizing. Remember, D3 is actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone. And what do hormones do? A lot of different things in our body, but one of them is important for strength. They've also shown it helps optimize. If you're too low in vitamin D3, it can affect your testosterone levels, both men and women. So you want to make sure you're getting optimal levels of it. I'm very proud to bring the very first 100% pure vitamin D3, the first one made from organic algae. So it's not only now certified by EcoCert, it's USDA certified. Need to update this slide too as well. But it's 100% dual certified, EcoCert and USDA certified organic, 100% pure. So it's actually just pure vitamin D3 in there in its organic state. It's a beautiful thing. I'm very proud to be one of the very first companies to bring this to market. Again, I only want the absolute best for you. If you want to buy cheap D3, it's pennies on the dollar out there. That's up to you. You can do that. Most of the vitamin D3 that's on the market in the supplement is not vegan. It's made from sheep fat. They pull it off the sheep's wool. The fat is secreted through the skin of the sheep, and then they comb it out of the sheep's wool. But it's basically oil secreted from the body of the sheep, and then you're getting the vitamin D3 out of that. Ours from organic algae, first of its kind. Cell Block 80, an amazing product. 2 published human clinicals showing it reduced prostate issues by 80%. So that was one of my biggest concerns. It's like if you elevate testosterone, you run a higher risk of prostate issues in men. And I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to remember, everything we produce has to promote health as well as promote fitness and strength gains. So I want you to get the best results out of the gym time that you spend, so that you're effective with your time. You're getting better results with your time in the gym, but I also want to make sure it's done in a healthy way. So when I found something that actually increased testosterone while dramatically reducing your risk of prostate issues, I was like, finally, eureka, the holy grail for men. This is awesome. And the fact that it will help reduce estrogen effects for women too. Women are loving this product. Actually, about 40% of all of our sales of Cell Block 80 go to women. They report amazing benefits, and even some fat loss too reported from users of the product. Intense. Now, this is one of my favorite products of all. Intense is the pre-workout, and it has a amazing thing in it called Rip Factor. Rip Factor was developed by AI. The AI combed the entire databases to say, if we took two ingredients and combined together, what would yield the biggest results based on human research? And out of all the data it found this Indian globe thistle and the tree bark of a mango tree. When you combine them, gave you the best results possible. I love AI in this particular application. I wouldn't actually call it AI. I would call it machine learning, really. It's basically telling the computer to search all of the information, more information than human beings could do in a reasonable period of time, and then give us the best two things in nature when you combine them. And boom, look at these results. Up to 4 times increase in muscle size when you use 2 scoops. Up to 20% more muscle strength, 35% more increase in muscle endurance. So if you're an endurance athlete, if you're a swimmer, a biker, a runner, it's amazing for increasing endurance. 35% more endurance increase. So that's a nice 21% increase in free testosterone in men. Fast acting gains in as early as 14 days. Now, most of the supplements out there, especially in the pre-workout category, it's all about just throwing a bunch of stimulants in there and making you cracked out of your mind to think, oh, this is really strong, it's really doing something. No, it's just overstimulating your body and jacking up your cortisol. Remember what cortisol does? It can block testosterone from actually working. So cortisol actually can cause fat storage. So blocking testosterone and increasing fat storage is not what I want out of my pre-workout. This actually does just the opposite, increasing muscle strength, increasing muscle gains, and reducing body fat all in one. Awesome, awesome product, especially if you stack this with Cell Block 80 to make sure that increased testosterone is not converting to estrogen or DHT. So real quickly, recapping on maximizing your results. So a good study shown that 1.6 grams per kilogram is sufficient for almost everybody, whether you're vegan or not, to build muscle. That's the threshold, really. And that's a maximum amount of threshold, maybe up to a little like 1.8 grams per kilogram for vegans, because you're having a little bit less leucine in it. Again, you can simply keep to the 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein intake to maximize that if you're adding your branched chain amino acids to that. That way you can keep your calories a little low, stay lean, but still maximally stimulate that growth. Adding that BCAAs for optimal muscle protein synthesis, adding the flour omegas so you optimize your EPA levels to support muscle protein synthesis, using something like N10s to give you all of that boost in benefits and strength and muscle gains, Cell Block 80 to reduce those unwanted side effects and optimize your hormone levels, and that organic D3 for optimal strength and immune support. So I didn't build just a bunch of products to say, hey, people buy this, let's make that so that people buy our product. No, I specifically built each one of these products to work synergistically with each other to meet each specific need of the human body so that you get optimal effects, addressing hormones, addressing immune support, addressing muscle strength, addressing muscle size, optimizing your protein utilization, optimizing and preventing hormone side effects. All of these working together when you combine them together, will optimize your results. That's why I do what I do. I really want you to get the best results so that we shine. We get the maximum amount of gains and fitness and overall health. And we can do this in a clean, natural, plant-based, healthy approach without having to use drugs, without having to use animal products. You don't need them. I'm proof of that. 60 years of age, natural bodybuilding champion, natural physique champion. I turned 61 in a couple months. I'm loving life. I'm completely drug-free, completely medication-free. I'm zero health problems and issues. And it's just fun. It's fun to live this life to the fullest extent. You know, I love the success of the company because I feel good about not only, you know, getting credited, winning the Next Award for a couple times, the 8 national awards that we've won. Yeah, those are all nice little pats on the back and stuff, but I want the best for you. I suffered with that depression a long time ago, and it almost killed me. And I feel so grateful for somebody helping me change my life around and get healthy and just bring that about. I've dedicated the rest of my life to helping improve other people's lives so that you feel the benefits, the excitement, the fun, the energy levels. I don't want you to have to suffer. Look, you work hard all your life to make your money. Why end it suffering through disease states? You don't need to. You can live it healthy and take advantage of those years. Watch your kids grow up, be able to travel the world and do it healthy, not in a wheelchair, to do it full strength and to take advantage of a life that you've built for yourself. And that's what I want for you. That's why I create these products. That's why I search all of the research out there to find the absolute best plants in the world and be the first to bring it to market. I was the first to bring DM33. We are the only ones with that cactus flower. I was the first to bring ahi flower to market. I was the first to bring lemna to market in the commercial space, the richest sort of plant nutrition. We're bringing it back. Stay with us. It's been a long haul. We found a new supplier. We hope to bring it back in 2024. So stay with us. I plan to bring it back. It is the first source of vitamin B12, truly bioavailable vitamin B12 in a whole food plant source. So you won't have to take a supplement again. That's what I want for you. We've got some really cool more products. It's under research. Some of these products take a long time. You know, people say, hey, how come you don't have a protein? I don't want just another pea and rice protein. You can buy that anywhere, and they can buy it cheaper than I could ever sell it. What I want is to give you the absolute best, and that's what we've got coming for you. I can't wait to talk more about this new protein I'm working on. It is amazing, and it has benefits that no other plant protein, no other vegan protein on the market has. You'll find out why when I get there. But that's what I want to do for you guys. I want to give you the absolute best for those who want the best. Yes, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but for those who can afford it, we'll put it on sale. So if you can't afford it, then you can get it on sale too as well. But I want you to have the very best. For those who want to get the most out of life, do it in the healthiest possible way. Do it more in a whole food sourced way. We've got something very, very special coming. So watch for us. I'm going to continue to research out there, comb the research, and bring these incredible plants to you so that you can get gains like this 60-year-old is doing and enjoy life to your fullest. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please share. Leave your comments in there. I'll answer every single one of them. And you can find us on YouTube. Let me go ahead and put that up on the, let's see, the ticker there. You can find us on Clean Machine online on YouTube, and check out all the rest of our videos. I do videos every single week, so we've got a ton of videos on so many different subjects, from protein to omegas, to all of the different things, all of the different questions that people ask, like vitamin K2 or vitamin B12 or vitamin B6, or what about choline? What about carnitine? All of these things I address. What about lectins? What about all of these things that people are talking about? I'll hit with the science, published human research, and I'll show you that data. Always, I'll provide the links, I'll provide the research and the studies, the title of the studies, so that you can check them out yourselves. You don't have to take my word for them. I'll just share them with you so that you can enjoy them. Check out these videos on YouTube at Clean Machine Online. You can check me out at Geoff Palmer on Facebook, at Clean Machine Fit on Facebook, and on Clean Machine Fit on Instagram too as well. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope the best health for you and these amazing plants that we can bring to market and share with you. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back.